Okay, in this video I want to take a look at how do we go about adding a navigation bar. So what we want to begin with is we want to open up our widgets library. So if you do not see your widgets library, come on up to the window and make sure that it is checked. So I click onto my widgets library and I see that I have a folder that is titled menus. So I'm going to open up the menus. I want to select a horizontal menu. I'm going to click it, I'm going to drag, I'm going to drop. And there we have it. Now we can see that when we do this, by default it has these gray colors, and we can see that we can hit this blue, we get some options that we can edit it with. But we can also come on in and begin to edit what we see up in this panel above, depending upon what we have selected. Now, the first thing that I want to do is has this gray background, and I can see the rollover too. So let's take a look at what the rollover looks like. I come to Window, and when I open up states, I will see what it is that's happening. So I can see that when I come to a rollover, that's the color, mouse down, active. Now I want to turn these off because I'm not really wild about them. I don't like the gray with what it is that I have happening here. So I'm going to click, and I come on up to this panel above, and I can see below my menu bar that I have a fill. Now, if you don't see that, make sure that you have this selected and you have it selected with the selection tool. So I'm going to come on in here and I'm just going to turn this off. And now I can see it's all gone. Now I'm going to come to the rollover. And what I want to do for the rollover is I'm going to actually change this color. So I'm going to come to my fill and I'm going to grab my eyedropper and I'm going to sample from a color right in there. Excellent. I'm going to go to my mouse down. I'm going to change that color as well. I'm going to click, grab this, click, and my active, I'm going to turn my active off. So there we have it. I've just made some changes. Excellent. So now the next thing that I want to do is I want to find out where that just disappeared to. Let's see here. Let's do our edit undo. Beautiful. It's reappeared. And all else fails, hit edit undo. So I clicked something, not sure what. Okay, moving along. We come on in, we have our menu bar here. I want to stylize it a little bit more. First thing I want to do is I want to make the type a little bit bigger. So I have it selected. In order to change the type, I need to grab the T for the type tool. And then I can come to this window in here. I can change the font that I'm working with. I like Georgia. I'm going to keep the Georgia. That's what I set it to already. And I'm going to make it bigger. Okay, now, so I want to get all of them. So I'm going to select all of these guys. Let's grab onto this. So again, we can also do it individually, but I want to select all of them. If that's the case, hold down Shift and select. So I'm going to grab my T for my type. And again, I want to make all of these guys bigger. Let's see what that looks like. We'll go even bigger. All right, excellent. All right, so now I also want to make this space out a little bit more. So I'm going to, again, now I'm going to hit this arrow right in here, the selection tool, and I am going to click and drag and make it bigger. Oopsie. Okay, and I want to make sure, that when I'm clicking onto this as well, that I'm getting what I have. Now, sometimes when it gets tricky to select things, what I want to do is open up my layers, and I can come on in and I can see where things are. So what I might want to do is lock these guys and just have the menu, and then it will be easier to move it around. So for instance, I could just select the whole thing and move it over. So now I can also come in individually because some of my letters are a little bit longer than others. So I want to try to maybe stretch out bring this in a little bit more, and there we have it. Now, last thing that I want to do is, as I'm looking at this, I can really see that the white really works over these darker pink colors, but over this blue, this grayish blue color, it gets lost. I want to add a rectangle of color. So I'm going to click off of here. I'm going to grab my rectangle tool and I am going to draw a rectangle. I'm going to create a rectangle. Voila. And I'm going to give it a fill. And again, I'm going to select a color. Now, what I want to do is I want to make sure that this rectangle is behind my menu. And what else I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the opacity of this. So there we have it. Excellent. I have this one created. I can center it, move with it, but hey, I think it looks pretty good. I think it's okay. All right, so now I want to preview this. File, save site. And we're going to do a preview and see what it looks like. Come to preview. All right, there we have it. Now, as I look at it in the preview, I am starting to think, I want these a little bit closer together. So I can always come on back to my design and bring these guys closer together. And you can work with it. There's so many different ways you can do things in these programs. Again, we can come in and we can work with it up with the width and the height up in here. And we can also, and then we come in and change the size of our shape. So, working with it, previewing it, seeing what it looks like. All right, now let's say that I want to add a menu bar down below. I can do that as well. So again, I'm going to come on into my menus. I'm going to go to horizontal. I'm going to drag, I'm going to drop this down in here. And there we have it. Now, I'm going to stylize this one a little bit differently. I want the font to be smaller. I don't want there to be a color behind it. So again, I'm going to come on in and I'm going to go to my states. I'm going to click onto these guys and I am going to turn off my fill, off, roll over. I'm going to turn off the fill. Mouse down, I'm going to turn off the fill. Active, I'm going to turn off the fill again. Now for this one, let's take a look at, let's take a look at changing the font color. So let's go to roll over. And I don't see the ability to change the font color here, right? I need to click on the T for type, and I can see the font color right in here. So what I want to do is I'm going to select one of these I want it to be light. I want it to be a subtle shift and change because it's over a dark background. I'm going to click that color right in there. All right. Click. Mouse down. Let's select another one, and it's okay if it's a little bit different. Maybe I'll select I want a really light one. And I can click this too, and then even let's do it. I kind of like that. All right, and then I'm going to leave the active. Okay, so there we have it. Now, with this one too, if I want to work with the size of it, I can do that as well. I have the width and the height. I can lock that, and I want to lower the width. Oh, let me unlock it. Okay. So I can see it all coming in closer, closer, closer. I can click in on here, same thing. Bring things in. All right, I think that this is pretty good. Let's preview it one more time. File, save site, always saving it in case it crashes. And then we can come on in, we can do our preview. We can scroll on down. And there we have it.